Okay, I just want to jump on here and do this latest update on Naya Rivera. I just saw a press conference that the Ventura County Sheriff's Department released today on July 10th. So I wanted to update my analysis of these press conferences that are being done in their search for Naya Rivera after she disappeared on July 8th. So that's what you'll be seeing in this video. Is again, I'm going to go question by question and analyze the Sheriff's Department response so that we can all try to figure out more information about what's going on in this ongoing search. All right, it started here. Let's see. Hopefully this just is like playing in the background this time. I think it is. So, all right, let me get started here. It looks like one guy starts off. I still don't know the sheriff's guy's name, but yeah, really looking at the question and answers here. All right.
Systems on their boat. They're also scanning the lake. We're putting as many assets as we can out there, as many personnel. The conditions are difficult. Again, the visibility in the water is 1 to 2 feet. So we're going to be putting a couple of short video clips on our Dropbox.
Okay, so this is definitely an update from the previous press conference from what I believe was Wednesday, and today is Friday. And so I also want to say before I get too far into the video that I don't have any inside information. I just like to give my analysis as a former police officer and a commentator and just a Naya Rivera fan. Grew up watching her, so I'm just trying to combine those expertise and fandom and all the things to give a really good analysis of what I believe these sheriff's officers are saying and not saying during these press conferences. So the first thing that I see as an update is Wednesday they were saying that visibility was about 15 feet in the lake, and now we're hearing it's 1 to 2 feet, which makes a whole lot of difference as far as ground that a scuba diver search and rescue can cover. Because if you're thinking that I can visibly cover 15 feet if I can see 15 feet around me, so 15-foot radius. But if I can only see 1 to 2 feet, that means I have to cover that much more physical space underwater to ensure that I've actually covered that distance and search properly. Let me keep going here.
This account, they'll be available on our Twitter feed shortly so people can kind of see what these devices look like and what the conditions look like in 30 to 35 feet of water where they were looking at these objects. It's very difficult conditions. We're still continuing the search, and we appreciate everybody's cooperation. We know everyone's concerned out there about this case and locating her and providing some closure for her family. So this is a situation, these are difficult because we don't know if she's going to be found 5 minutes from now or 5 days from now. So we're still going to be continuing this effort. I'll take any questions that you guys have at this point.
During this press conference, or it may take days to find her wherever she is.
Well, each day we're evaluating what areas have been searched and what areas still need to be searched. So the level of personnel and equipment here may vary over the next 2 days. Today we have approximately 40 personnel on this. We're not putting divers in the water at the same pace that we were on Wednesday evening or yesterday. We're using the sonar to...
Okay, so Wednesday's press conference, definitely remember the sheriff's office is saying that we have 100 personnel working this search and rescue. So from Wednesday to Friday now, they've gone from 100 personnel searching to 40 personnel. Along with that, they're not necessarily putting divers in as often, so the pace is slowing down, which makes sense. You have fewer divers. They're going in less often because it's just hard to dive again after time after time after time. It's you have to recover, you have to get out, take off the equipment. It's not the normal recreational scuba divers equipment. Along with that, you heard the sheriff say that they're using fewer divers actually in the water in place of sonar. So a boat can go on sonar and ping different spots in the water to see if the depth has not only changed, but the density of objects that radar is pinging off, or that sonar is pinging off of. So if it's rock, it's easy to tell that this is rock, and if it's and it has the unfortunate to be a human body, the sonar can pick up that unique density. Then I think they also said that there are helicopters which have sonar capabilities as well.
Identify specific objects. It's very effective. They get a really detailed image, and then they can go down and focus on specific things rather than putting divers in the water where they're literally feeling around because they can't see.
Right,
So the
1
sonar
to
is
2
a
feet
very
in the water,
effective
you
tool,
basically the only
and
thing
we're
you
using
can
it
do is feel around
as
if you're a
best we
diver.
can given the conditions that are out there. So the primary focus in this search is the north side of the lake and the east side of the lake. Based on where the boat was found on Wednesday afternoon at 4 p.m. in the north side of the lake, an area called the Narrows, we believe because of the wind patterns and the currents that it may have drifted from the east side of the lake here. So anywhere between there and that north side is being...
Okay, Sheriff is saying that the search has been focused on the east side of the lake and the north side of the lake due to the currents and the wind patterns between the time that Naya went out in the boat and now.
being searched very heavily.
And I would say, too, fewer divers. You want to make sure that every time you send somebody
I
out,
don't
their
have
efforts really
specifics
going to
as far as the
make a lot
surface
of
area
sense.
Of what's been covered and how much down below. I would have to check with the guys on that.
So you're
I
asking
don't have that.
what
I'll have
percentage
to
of the
check
lake
on
has been covered? Not really able to give a specific answer.
So the way it's explained to me is that the dog...
And I've been talking over a little bit, but now the sheriff is explaining the cadaver dogs and how they work. So I briefly mentioned in the previous video that you have these dogs who can be in a boat that's going along the surface of the water, and those dogs are able to pick up the scent of gases bubbling up from beneath that have escaped from a human cadaver.
sniffs just above the water as the boat slowly travels through the lake, and that the dog can detect bubbles from gases given off by a body down below, and the dog will alert on those smells. They've been using the dog yesterday and today, and I'm not aware of the dog hitting on anything yet. Kevin, I don't know if has there been any...
And just like divers, the dogs have to rest. So you may be able to, I think I heard mentioned before that there are 2 cadaver dogs who are covering the north and eastern part of this lake during the search. But those dogs may be able to be out for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and then have to rest for hour, 2 hours, 3 hours the rest of the day. May only be able to, when you think of, why aren't these cadaver dogs searching 24/7? It's because they're physically, unable to search for that long without hitting very, very high failure rates.
Anything with that?
Now, the idea is that the dog does alert. Can you come to the mic, please? If the dogs do alert, they would record the GPS coordinates of that location, and then they would put forth a dive team with either an ROV or a diver to go in and check that. But there were no canine hits or alerts that we're aware of.
So these last 2 days, they've been using the cadaver dogs, the canine dogs, and they have yet to really hit on anything. If they do, then those dogs, then the divers will focus on that area where the dogs actually hit.
Any other questions? Yes, so the ROV is being utilized by the Tulare County Sheriff's Office. They have a crew out there on a boat, so they're using the sonar systems to scan the bottom of the lake, and then if they identify any objects, they'll put the ROV down to get eyes on, so to speak,
ROV, I'm not sure what that is just by looking at this video the first time, but it sounds like some kind of camera system.
And gone down and investigated have not been what we're looking for. So the search continues.
Okay, so the view sonar investigated and you come up with nothing, but the ROV sounds like some kind
I don't have a statement
visual.
from the family. Our investigators have been in contact with the family since the beginning of this. We have a liaison with the family, working with them, and of course, they're going through an extremely difficult time, and we're trying to do everything we can to provide as much resources as we can and provide some closure for them. I don't know that there's a reason to do that. He was interviewed. quite extensively on the night of that afternoon.
It sounds like the reporter asked, will the child, Josie, Naya Rivera's child with her ex-husband, if he'll be interviewed again, and the sheriff's saying no, that he's been talked to extensively. Again, I mentioned before that you can only extract so much information from a 4-year-old before they start to, either be exhausted or be influenced by the questions that you're asking them. So I think if he says that, if what he has been told to us, he said, is that his mom went swimming and she didn't come back, then I think, until more comes out, that's what we know.
So our investigators completed that task right from the get-go, and that's part of what focused our resources in specific areas of the lake. It was based on where the boat was found, where it likely came from based on the wind patterns and things like that, and the statement provided by the child. We've also interviewed other folks who were on the lake at the time in boats, and they've provided some clarity as to where her boat may have been at specific times. So that's been very helpful as well.
I'm surprised I haven't mentioned or heard more about searching the surrounding areas, and if it's possible that, Naya was on the boat, jumped into the water, swam to shore because the boat was close to shore at the time before it drifted away to where they found it. And then, she left her child safely on board with the life jacket. Again, I don't want to theorize about something I have no idea, but, it's just odd to me that they haven't mentioned a lot, or reporters seem to not be asking about searching the surrounding area for forensic evidence. Maybe not thermal evidence or sonar evidence, but at least physical forensic evidence.
Have you got any new information on the inquiry since yesterday?
Any new information
any further details?
On what? As far as...
Do we know exactly what was left on the boat?
Oh, what items were on the boat? I don't have that.
Is there a timeline for the...
I thought they mentioned yesterday, or the previous press conference, that there was a life jacket at least, and maybe her purse was on there, maybe not. I don't think there's been like a definitive answer about whether her purse was actually on the pontoon boat or in the car she left behind. I'm not sure if it makes that much a difference, what the end result is, but he's saying now they have no idea what was left in the boat, and that seems to be a different answer than previous.
My understanding is as long as this opening is going on, the lake will remain closed to the public.
Any idea how long the operation is going to be?
Okay, so the lake is
It's hard to say.
closed
Like I said, we can't predict. I mean, we may find her in an hour from now or several days from now. So
again,
there's just no way to
closed to the
predict
public
that.
at this point.
Okay?
I know you've mentioned it, but can you talk again about the conditions underneath the lake and why it's so hard to find?
Yeah, so with this being a reservoir, there's trees down below. This is a canyon that essentially they put a dam on and then flooded many years ago. So it's not like a naturally occurring lake like in a bowl that just has sediment and rocks on the bottom.
Lake Pyro, mentioned this previously, is a man-made lake, so it looks like they built a dam and used that dam to flood the area behind the dam to create the lake. So unlike most typical lakes, it's not gonna have a normal silt bed. It's not gonna have a normal rapids or an undercurrent. It's a quite different type of lake. Mentioned before, just like Lake Lanier in Georgia, you see a lot of drownings happen because who knows why. A lot of drownings happen in these man-made lakes. Just because of what's been left behind underneath, you're much more likely to get tangled in it or to not be able to navigate as normal these man-made lake beds.
You have a creek that runs into it that connects to Lake Pyramid north of here. And then you have a creek that runs out of it and goes to the Santa Clara River. So there is a flow to this lake.
Okay, so it's not
Every
just
lake has
isolated.
a certain current.
You
And then
can get in and out of the lake by other bodies of water.
Comes up the canyon, so it pushes the surface water toward the back of the canyon, even though the flow of the creek is coming.
I want to iterate, it is possible to get in and out of this lake. It says there is a creek flowing in and a creek flowing out of Lake Pyru. Not sure what that means for the search and investigation, but one thing I do think it indicates is that the search may not make sense if it's just isolated to Lake Piru.
Into the lake. So that creates a little bit of an effect there. But I'm told by some of the divers that even with that current, wherever she went down, they're confident that that's where she'll be found. It's just finding that spot. That's the difficult part. I mean, you can see the lake's more than 2 miles long. At its deepest point, it's about 130 feet deep. There's a lot of area to cover.
Deepest point of the lake is 130 feet deep. That's really deep.
So my understanding, and this was already something that was planned, I believe it's next month. They're going to bring the lake level down significantly. I'm told by 65 feet because they have to do some seismic retrofitting on the dam itself. So that was something that was already planned well in advance.
Okay, it sounds like because this Lake Piru, is a part of a dam system, if they open the dam, then you can lower the level of the lake. And it sounds like the sheriff is saying that it's been pre-planned for the lake to be lowered next month by about 65 feet. And if that happens, of course, different structures and parts of the lake will be exposed. For instance, the part of the lake that Naya was found in was 30 feet deep. So if you lower the lake by 65 feet, for instance, you may be able to expose that area where Naya's boat was found to the open air, and definitely that'll improve your search opportunities and chances.
Not related to this incident, so yeah.
Opening the dam, and then where would that water go?
You know what? You'll have to talk to United Water about that. This is their lake and their water, and I'm sure they have a precise plan on how that's going to happen. Any other questions?
Can you spell your name, sir?
Sure. My first name is Eric. It's spelled E-R-I-C. Last name is Bushow. It's spelled B-U-S-C-H-O-W.
Bushow, so Sheriff
Captain.
Bushow, Captain Bushow.
Ventura County Sheriff's Office.
Captain Bushow. Okay, so that's who
Thank
the guy
you.
is.
Appreciate it.
That's it for that, for the update. I wanted to just get back on. The previous video I did was from Wednesday's press conference, and so today's video, this updated one, is from Friday's press conference. Basically, explaining the updates in the case. From what I take is there's fewer personnel on site. From Wednesday, we have 100. Now there's only 40 personnel searching the water, including the divers, the pilots, both boat pilots and helicopter pilots, the canine handlers who have the dogs, all the sheriff's department folks who are on the ground and in the water. So we're at about 40 personnel. It sounds like visibility is way down from what is typical, from 15 feet down to 1 to 2 feet. So that means you're having to be much more hands-on in the search in the actual water. And it also sounds like they're really using sonar to expand the search. If you're able to use that sonar systems on boats and helicopters to ping the water, then send in divers to actually figure out if you're hitting on something positive with that sonar technology. But that's kind of more the technical side of this, like, Naya Rivera press conference, the updates from Ventura County Sheriff's Office. I do want to just take this opportunity to provide my analysis of the situation, to kind of use this information into something that we can understand, to help folks really get a grasp on what's going on with the search and rescue and now recovery mission around Naya Rivera's disappearance. I appreciate you tuning in, and I will talk to you next time. Bye. Oh, one thing I want to say is don't forget to comment below if you have ideas about the questions and answers from the reporters. I really would like to see what you have to say. I'll comment back with my thoughts on it. And then don't forget to like and subscribe as well, so you can get the latest updates as they come out about the search for Naya Rivera. Appreciate it. Bye.